Hey guys, Nick Showman from Showtime Strength, and today I want to touch base about the realities of training college athletes. I think we've all seen or expected to see, the highlight reels of college athletes training together when they're home on break, and just we imagine super intense, super competitive training environments and videos of athletes barely surviving the workout and crawling around on the ground after. But the reality is that's just not conducive to the goal of training college athletes while they're home. So the first thing we have to understand is our college athletes, they have a really high sports skill age and a really low training age generally. If for most of us, we're lucky if our college athletes have 5 years of training experience in a weight room under some type of structure. All right, now on the other hand, with their sport training age, their sport age and their knowledge is super high. They know different tactical, situational awareness, what to do in every scenario, specific skill sets for their sport, whether they're a pitcher, a hitter, whatever it might be. So their skill knowledge is super high. So we just need to bring the training age up, and we do that just with increasing basic fitness. So increasing overall strength, relative strength, absolute strength, aerobic capacity, improving mobility, improving flexibility, which are byproducts, improving speed or maintaining speed, just raising the bar a little bit at a time. Goes a long way. And once you realize that, we can throw out a lot of the stuff we might see online about super highly specific sports skill exercises, and we can really just replace them with general exercises and really get a better result. The next thing is we need to understand that some of our athletes, when they're home on summer break, some of them will need pushed harder, and then some of them need to pull back in their training a little bit, and that is dependent on where they're at in their competitive cycle for their sport. We have a lot of spring sport collegiate athletes this year. So a lot of them didn't finish up till the first, second, or third week of June. So a lot of them, we're just starting that training cycle over. And then the other thing to consider is, do you have an athlete, are you working with an athlete that played every play of the game? If they're first base or pitcher, if they're a pitcher, were they pitching every game or mostly every game and hitting, and traveling? Or are you working with a player that didn't see much playing time on the field this year? Maybe they were just practice squad, helping people warm up, stuff like that. Those athletes need to be pushed a little bit higher so that they can close the gap in getting closer to their goals. The athletes who might have played every play, they need to pull back, all right? Their summer break. And what you'll see when we start doing this with our higher skilled athletes that are playing more, we start pulling back their intensity, pulling back their training volume in the summer. And really by about 4th of July, you'd see them start hitting PRs both in their sport and their weight room. So if they're pitchers in softball, that's when they'd start having like movement PRs on pitches, spotting the ball better, higher exit velocity hitting, higher velocity pitching. So that would start happening around the first or second week of July so you're talking about a month off from their sport. And we're pulling back the training intensity also. And then lastly, the thing we need to understand as coaches, everyone loves their program, but we have to understand that we can't force the athlete to our program. We need to adjust our program to the athlete to give them what they need at that phase of their life. So a lot of coaches will say, well, I'm strictly a conjugate coach, or I'm a linear progression coach, whatever your training methodology is. I really don't care. You can't force your athlete into the training. The training has to adapt to each individual athlete. And even, all our college athletes are following the same planned workout. And within that same workout, if we have 6 college athletes in that training session, there's probably at least 6 variations of some exercises going on at some point. It could be a main lift, maybe everyone's box squatting. Meanwhile, there's one person using a safety bar, another person is going to front squat. We have a girl that hasn't deadlifted all summer because of the previous injury. So she subs that exercise for something else based on where we're at in the training cycle with her sport. So we adjust, even in the group setting, we have to adjust the program to the athlete, and that takes practice, and there'll be some trial and error, but you can't just because the workout plan says you have to do this today. If you force the athlete into that, you're going to get a training result that is not desired by you, the athlete, or the sport coach back at their school. If you guys have any questions or comments on this topic, let me know.